That's beautiful. That was gorgeous. That's a beautiful sound. Organ.
It's a big sound, isn't it,
for such a small instrument, as far as organs go?
It really has quite a lot of reeds in it.
Really?
It's bigger than just a parlor organ.
Yeah.
And so it fits in a building like this.
Yeah.
And of course, these are all hard surfaces. Well, there is a rug on them.
It's a pretty thin rug, yeah. Oh, look at that. That's awesome.
But that's nowhere near as loud as you can get it.
Really?
See, are you familiar with reed organs?
No.
Well, this it needs some attention.
Just bump that with your knee, huh?
But anyway, that makes it louder.
Oh, yeah.
This knee lever pulls out all the stops.
So you have to be able to do two things at one time.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't have a pedal board like a big pipe organ does, you know.
What do the pull thingies do? What do these things do?
These that you pull?
Yeah.
Well, now this one adds an octave lower. See that?
Oh, okay.
So it just sort of doubles and this one adds an octave higher. And then there's a Vox Humana here that adds a quavering tone to it.
Probably was high tech.
Yeah, no doubt. I bet that was really high tech back then, yeah. Your pedals?
The harder you travel, the louder it gets.
Oh, really? That has a beautiful sound to it.
Stan,
Wow.
what is that?
I don't know. I wondered that myself.
I've never seen a brain like that.
This looks pretty old too, this little cabinet.
I was reading about the history here in construction.
Uh-huh.
And one of the things I was reading was about the amount of maple trees in the area.
Oh, yeah, because even look, the paneling has that stifling.
What year was this church? 1869?
Yes.
No, 64, isn't it?
I think the sign out front said 69. I
Okay.
could be wrong, I just glanced at it.
So are you from this area?
1869.
1869? Ooh, man.
So in here,
That's okay. Are you from this area?
no, I was born in Cleveland, but I grew up in Sturgis, Michigan.
Okay.
Been in this area for 30 years since I retired.
And they have the old-timey pews where it's divided in the middle.
Well, you know, I understand that originally the women sat on
Yes,
one side, the
yes,
men on the
right,
other.
right.
That's probably why those
Right.
dividers are there.
Keep them from, a little hanky-panky from going on in service, huh?
I don't know what the
It's the
Yeah,
the
that's
genders
very-
are separated.
I don't know what the philosophy was. I don't think it's.
To keep people's attention. Quakers did the same thing.
I understand though that in the temple, in the Jewish temple in Jerusalem, that there was a section where the men could go that the women couldn't. You know.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's very common.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
Which,
yes.
So what did you retire from?
well, I was an American Baptist pastor.
Okay.
Okay, awesome.
The last place I was pastor was out in East Liverpool on the Ohio River.
Okay.
Were you also at an Indian reservation?
Yeah, I was a missionary on the Crow Reservation for 6 years.
Oh, wow.
I understand you've done some mission work.
It's an old German Bible.
I spent 3 years in Guatemala at a children's home. Yes.
I went on mission trips to Central America, Nicaragua,
Okay.
especially Nicaragua, and Guatemala.
That's a pretty cool Bible.
Yeah, that's right. Next door. Yeah.
Candle holders. And for your light. This was pre-electricity, so they used coal.
Yeah, there's a local church from where I'm from that they do that once a year. Go to the Dominican. Yeah. No.
Here's the altar. If you weren't repentant before you came up here, your knees would make you repent pretty soon. Those wooden altar ledges look pretty hard. So,
Well, now there's phone, there's apps you can get on your phone that translate. I do a lot of that. Yeah.
there's an old song book. It's in English. Nice old German Bible. German language. The Bible, it's in German. It looks pretty old too, but I didn't want to touch
Yeah.
it.
You read German?
No. But apparently somebody did.
You know, I learned enough German that I can read it,
Did you?
but I don't understand all the words, but I know how to pronounce it.
Right, right.
And I had a funeral for a woman who was just German speaking, and her daughter was there and had the funeral, planned the funeral. But the daughter knew German too, so I got a German Bible and read the 23rd Psalm in German.
Oh, yeah?
And that was such a good thing for them, you know, because the mother never learned English. And so
Wow.
I knew how to pronounce it because I'd just taken enough German to learn how to pronounce it.
I bet you enjoyed that.
You were commenting, they gathered on this side for the heat.
Yeah,
There's a space on the other side. If you'll look, there was a stove there as well.
oh, yeah, you're right.
That one
Yeah.
pew there would not have been there, because if you'll notice, it's a different type of a pew.
Yeah.
And clear up the top, there's one of those plates where the stovepipe would have went through.
Where
Oh, yeah, in the wall, at the top. It was a whole,
Clear up there. And see, this pew is different from these. It's got little vents where these are built into the wall.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
there
and
would be a gas stove here too, or
and
a
this is,
wood stove,
And
and
it's got the stuff for the
this-
heat.
This is metal, so it protected the wall.
from the heats from
Yeah.
So
catching
they had a
fire.
stove on each side of
Yeah,
the
it
church.
was vintage.
This has just been set here just for.
Look at the molding. Molding's wonderful too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's why the old folks could sit to keep warm.
It's a light fixture. House.
Oh, the chandelier is awesome. It looks very heavy too.
Yeah, and when that would have been lit, look how it would have reflected on that glass.
Oh yeah, no doubt. It's reflective.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Don was telling me
That was
they
beautiful.
probably had some way of cranking, letting it down so they could fill it and light.
Oh well,
each-
there's chains up there. See the
yeah, so they could
chains?
fill and light,
There's
and then they could raise
chains.
it back up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
And that bottom round piece, that's where the oil would have
That's
been
where the
filled.
oil was filled. Yes.
Oh yeah. You're right. Yeah. Well, if that caught fire, that just blew up, didn't it? It was
Yeah.
full of oil.
That would be very dangerous.
It would
This
be.
place would have gone up if it had caught on.
Look at the size of the hook that thing hangs from.
Oh, the hook is massive. Yeah, the hook is massive.
Yeah.
I find it interesting to look at stuff like this.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah, the hook is big. Yeah, it's got to be big. I'm sure it's screwed to a huge,
And they had it organized so that
huge beam, wooden beam. I'm sure the structural beam.
the children sat in
Yeah, so there's wood stove on both sides. Yeah.
makes sense because
And notice how the pews facing the wood stove here.
Yes.
Keep your feet warm at wintertime. Because we're in Ohio, that's it gets cold here in the wintertime.
So they kept the men warm as well as the women.
Yeah, well,
And,
well, bless their hearts, yeah.
well, I mean, you commented they all gathered to that side.
Well, because if there's a choice, you know, the women would have that side. Yeah.
But I got looking and I thought, well, that pew doesn't belong there because it's not the same width.
Right.
And then I saw the thing on the wall.
Yeah.
This pew was facing that away.
Yeah, I didn't see
This
that.
is not attached.
It's not
Well,
attached.
see, this has an end on each end.
Yeah.
Where those pews are built into the wall.
Right. But this was not nailed down.
No, it is not.
It's not attached to the wall, yeah.
Somebody just placed it there for grins and giggles is what they did. Because they had nowhere to go with it.
Well, it might have been movable in case they had to work on the wood stove, maybe. Give them some room. Who knows?
And I'm sure, Bill, you should send it him. He can tell you all about the Moravian church that he's been in.
Oh, really? Oh, man. Mor-
are you a teacher?
Yeah, I taught at a Bible seminary, history, church history.
I see. Well, I was just telling her about visiting the old Moravian church down in Winston-Salem.
Oh.
You know, that was originally a Moravian settlement.
Oh, what? North Carolina? Winston-Salem, North Carolina?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I have cousins down there,
Oh, do you? Yeah.
and they took me to this original Moravian settlement. There's a section of the city now that's more modern. That's Salem.
Right.
That's why they call it
Winston-Salem, yeah.
But somehow they've decided to preserve or restore this section that was the original Moravian settlement with all the old buildings.
Oh, wow.
And I was telling her about visiting the church that I don't know if it's a complete rebuilding or if they restored it from what it was just sort of worn out, but at any rate, it feels old when you go into it.
Right.
And it's worth a visit to see it. And
The Moravians taught Charles Wesley about faith.
there was a connection there.
Charles Wesley got the call to go to the colony of Georgia to preach to the Indians. Well, he got on the boat, a boat full of Moravian settlers. Well, on the way here, they ran into a huge storm on the Atlantic. And water was crashing over the boat, coming in the boat. Charles Wesley was this is according to his journal, his writing. John Wesley was in the back of the boat crying because he thought he was going to die. Now this is after he went to seminary in Oxford and all that. Mm-hmm. Well, through his teary eyes, he saw the Moravian settlers in the middle of the boat singing psalms.
You know, I probably read this history, but I don't recall all
So
of it.
he crawls over there. He asked the Moravian elder, why aren't you afraid? We're all going to die. His answer was to John Wesley, he says, don't you know Jesus? Oh. And John Wesley said in his journal, he said, I graduated from Oxford and I didn't even have any faith. I didn't have the faith that these people had. He said, I had to learn to come to Jesus from these simple, uneducated Moravian farmers. Yeah.
You know, I had a professor when I went to graduate school that had made a special study of the Anabaptist movement.
Right.
And there was a lot of connection there between all the Anabaptists and the Baptists and the Methodists, and
Right.
there was a lot of interchange there.
Right.
That I don't think that had been widely studied.
Yeah, the Moravians had a large church in London, and when John Wesley got back from Georgia, he attended that church. A lot of his doctrine came from that Moravian church in London. And that's why the early Methodists were so on fire, because they picked it up from the Moravians, who were on fire, who were the most conservative church of the day.
Well, they were really interested in music too. I was telling Sheila that in this church that they restored, they had a pipe organ. Even it was a very primitive church, but they had a pipe organ, probably one that you can pump with your hand, you know.
Right. They were very expensive back then.
Huh?
They were very expensive back then.
Well, but they had this little pipe organ in that tiny church, you know.
Uh-huh.
Now they have another one that's been built especially for that church, but it's similar to what they had.
Right.
So it doesn't have many pipes in it, but it has enough, you know.
Right.
Sort of like this one, you know. But the Moravians were big on music.
I thought it was interesting you said that they didn't have a pulpit.
Yeah.
The leader sat at a table up front.
Yeah. In this church, the Moravian pastor didn't have a pulpit. They had a table.
Right.
He just sat at the table and talked to the people.
Yeah, it wasn't religion back there was among the conservative Moravians. It wasn't so pompous, you know. You know the the big altar, the big pulpit, and the
Yeah, they want it to be seen as equal with the
you know,
people.
the preacher with a $2,000 suit. No, he didn't. No, that wasn't the case back then. Yeah, everybody was equal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was much more democratic than the Episcopal system, and
Right.
of course the Methodists retained some of that in modern days, called themselves a Methodist Episcopal
Right.
Church.
Right.
I've never known what the ME stood for.
Methodist Protestant.
Yeah, until I visited this church and read some of the old documents, I had no idea what that ME.
Methodist Episcopal.
Methodist Episcopal, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the history of this church started in a log cabin by a group of Germans, and they would hold service. It began in 1842, and they would hold the service in the home of Gers was his name, and they did it in the German language. And as they kind of grew, they had a traveling circuit. Somebody would come in, minister, and they'd take turns. And then eventually this building was built as the group here. And they would hold the services, as you saw, with the German Bible and the German language.
Oh yeah. I'm sure everybody, that was just primary language still. It was German, yeah. And the Amish still hold it in German too, you know.
I think Don could read that to us.
Wonder what year that was printed in. It's a pretty old book.
Can you see it well enough to read?
This is,
Looking for the 23rd Psalms.
I think that it's beautiful writing.
Oh, the type is beautiful, yeah. The type is awesome. It's great that this church could be open to the public. If this was in Houston, people would steal everything and vandalize and graffiti everywhere.
Yeah.
You couldn't do that in Houston.
Very few places you could leave it unlocked.
That's a testimony to the people around here. Yeah. There's a hole in the.
Yeah, I saw that. Air conditioning.
This 23rd Psalm is right here, so I bet.
In front of that pew, you can see daylight if you look down.
Oh yeah, I can see where something's cut out too
Oh, really?
on the floor.
Can you read it?
You want me to try to read?
Yeah. Try to read it.
I haven't done it for a long time.
Do you need more light?
Turn the light on.
I can use the flashlight on my
Flip the
phone.
switch. Der Herr ist mein. I can't read that script.
It's kind of.
Flashlight on your phone?
Well, I don't know how to do it.
Well, no, she looked
I
at
can't remember that word for shepherd.
It's kind of dark, yeah.
Right, it's nicht out, right? Alle Grünen umschwirrt mit zum frischen Wasser.
I bet any old Amish guy come in here and read preach on it too in German.
Gutes und wahren Besiegfahrt dürfen erfolgen mein Leben lang, as long as life lasts. Leben lang.
As long as life.
Und ich werde bleiben im Hause des Herrn immer forever.
Oh. Well, I'm guessing is the maybe read from the text here, and then he maybe preached a sermon from that table, maybe. Huh?
Well, I I think that was, I'm not sure if that was original or not. No, I think they
Preach from there? Okay.
Yeah, I think so too.
Well, you are elevated, so, yeah.
Well, and that was so people in the back could see.
Right.
The higher you up, the more the people in the rear can see.
Right.
There's no microphone.
No microphone. But it echoes nice, so you don't have to raise your voice in here. It goes,
No.
it echoes.
The acoustics are good.
Acoustics are great, yeah.
Did you say that the light fixture was
It's not original.
not
It
original?
was moved from some other building, but
Oh, was it?
I'm glad they preserved it because
Yeah.
it's a beautiful piece of.
Oh, it's gorgeous, yeah. Very unique, yeah. Yeah. Pretty cool. You don't see churches like this too often, not where I come from anyway.
So Dawn knows a little about the Quaker Church. She's been to an open house inside of it. You can
Oh, okay.
share some info maybe. The little Quaker Church.
1850 Quaker Church, yeah.
Please do not turn
Are you familiar with what makes the sound in these things?
No.
Reeds?
I've seen reeds for like an oboe or a wind instrument.
Well, these are brass. If I had a screwdriver, I could open this up and show you.
Oh, no, you have to do that.
Yeah, it's just a matter of taking off a couple screws.
Oh, okay.
If you,
Get his toolbox.
Can I get it? Yeah.
or you can just open it up and bring me the big screwdriver.
Not the whole lot.
I fell on my face a couple times lately, and so people think I ought to use a cane.
Yes, you need to use a cane. Yes. Most people fall because they're too stubborn that they don't want to use a cane.
Well, they didn't say that. They didn't tell me that.
I know, but that's the deal.
It's a hard thing to
To admit
decide to use a cane.
I imagine so.
But when you're just walking along and suddenly you find yourself on the sidewalk, why, that's not a good sign.
No, it's not. it's just a sign of aging, you know.
So you were going to open it up and show him the reeds?
Yeah, I just thought you hadn't seen.
Don has written information they left here at the church about it's an Epworth. And there's a recent article that was dedicated
Screwdriver back then.
to
To
the
the-
Epworth.
Piano?
Yeah, and he's the one who takes care of it.
Yeah.
Oh, I should have had to bring in the whole thing. Not sure I can get a read out of here. This is what opens up the. This, but then. Why doesn't that open up? Oh, it is open. Just see, those are the reeds.
Those are the reeds there? Okay. Yeah. I imagine to change out the reeds, you got to really take everything apart. Huh?
I need a reed puller. You know.
What do you need?
A reed puller.
Oh, a reed
Okay.
puller.
That's all right. We've seen them.
See, you can see that each note has one of those brass reeds that the tongue on it that
Right.
vibrates. It's like a mouth organ.
It's brass, huh?
Yeah, they're brass.
I
Wow.
have some of those at the house still.
Oh, really?
Where you disassembled one. I'll show him when he comes Friday what they look like.
Oh, he's gonna join us Friday?
No, I have some reeds that Don
See
gave
that?
to me. I
To get that open, so that set of reeds plays, you pull out that stop.
Oh, yeah. Like a big stopper. Oh, yeah.
No, he's a busy man. They're calling him Friday for historical society.
Pretty cool.
He's a busy man.
They use this building
Oh, Phil,
for sometimes for funerals
Oh, do they?
and weddings.
Oh, okay.
And then sometimes the churches have services out here just to do something different.
Yeah, that would be fun to do something different. It would be fun to have a service in an old church, yeah. Yeah, if these walls could speak, brother. I bet if you're kneeling at those altars, I bet you'd be repenting quick. Those look pretty hard.
These instruments work on low pressure.
Low pressure?
It pulls air out through the reeds rather than blowing into them.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Let me put that back.
Oh, wow, look at this. Such old books in there.
Old German songbooks.
Wow, candles. Got some candles down there. I didn't know the Methodists use a lot of candles. I didn't know the Methodists use so many candles. There's 2 candlestick holders there too.
Yeah,
I thought that was more of a Catholic thing. Huh?
I don't know, but I suppose they lighted those for the services, but I'm not sure those are original. I just don't know about that.
Well, the wood kind of matches the
Yeah.
wood, so matches the piano too.
You feel this is a special place, though, when you come in here, don't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Just the reverence of
Yeah.
the fact that people came here for so many years to worship God, and
And it was especially for that purpose and no other.
right. I mean, how many people repented of their sins on this altar over
Yeah,
the? That's
yeah. Well, I wonder if all the Methodist churches didn't originally have what they called an altar like that.
I mean, how many sinners came there and were later ministers? Because they kneeled down there. Yeah. You got to revere something like that. I mean,
Well, when if you're a student of church history, you know that though all of these people didn't agree, each one was trying to follow Christ in the way they saw fit, and
Right.
each one has made a contribution to.
right.
And I greatly respect the Methodists for and what they contributed.
One thing I learned about reading, studying history is God's in your heart. It's not necessarily in your doctrine.
Yeah,
It's in your heart.
yeah.
God's in your heart.
It's a relationship with
Right.
God that counts. Yeah.
He's not going to slap you because, your doctrine's not absolutely correct, which man tends to do, man can be very punitive when you don't think the way they think. And I just don't think, that's not what I get from when I read the Gospels,